Hey, Rick here with MathLite, and the thought today is the aspect of solving equations. So I take a lot of time in the beginning when teaching my kids how to solve equations with these concepts. Of course, first off, I'm going to talk about your goal in solving an equation is to isolate the variable. And we'll explain what does that mean, get the variable all by itself on one side of the equal sign. I'm sure you do that. But then I boil everything down to just two things from there. I boil it down to quantities that are added to the variable, and then quantities that are multiplied times the variable. So this is how I phrase it. Quantities that are added to the variable are moved by adding their opposite to both sides. For example, our equation here, obviously the 7 is added to the variable. It's on the same side as the variable, it needs to move, and it's added to that variable. So we're going to move it by adding its opposite to both sides, and of course you understand we're going to add -7 to both sides. Then we've got the 3, and the 3 is multiplied times the variable, again on the same side as the variable. So we can either have quantities added to the variable or multiplied times the variable. And I say, my phraseology is this, quantities multiplied times the variable are moved by multiplying both sides by the reciprocal. When I teach them that, then they're able to handle all aspects of quantities that are both added to and multiplied times the variable. Now you might say, well, what about something like n over 4? Well, again, I teach them that's 1/4 times the variable. Okay, and so there's ways of doing this to where they'll understand the terminology and understand exactly what's going on and really be able to handle any kind of equation. But here's the point I want to make today. So once we go through, and of course, first we learn how to move things added to the variable. That's common procedure, common order in taking things, and then we learn how to move things multiplied times the variable. Now, a lot of curriculums also add, move things divided and such. I do it all either added or multiplied. But here's the point. Then what happens when you have both operations at the same time? And so because I would have taught them things added to the variable are moved by adding their opposite to both sides, and quantities multiplied times the variable are moved by multiplying both sides by the reciprocal, once we have both, then this is what I drive into their heads. I say, now students, if you have quantities both added to and multiplied times the variable, which quantity do you move first? And again, what I'm trying to do is give them the best case scenario. And of course, we know there are, exceptions to all the rules, but 99 times out of 100, when quantities are both added to and multiplied times the variable, which one do you want to move first? And of course, we understand it's best, it's easiest, students will get more problems correct if they move quantities added to the variable first. So that's the teaching, that's the thought. So I want to teach them, hey, when quantities are both added to and multiplied times the variable, move quantities added first. Try it in your classroom. I think you'll like it.